Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I got something really special for you. We're going to be taking apart and cleaning up and possibly restoring some of this old 1950s Bernz and Matic propane stove. Alright everybody, welcome back. So what you see in front of you here is a vintage Bernz and Matic model TX500 one-burner propane gas camp stove. I picked this up locally, and for those of you who are in Vegas and Pahrump, I picked it up from Plan B Survival and Preparedness, and if you guys are local, you got to go into his store and check him out a couple times a week. He gets unusual stuff in like this. For those of you that aren't local, sorry, I'll keep pestering him to build a website so you can order it online. He is a friend of mine, and he runs this store here locally, and he's come up with some amazing, unusual stuff that people just bring in. And being in an area like this where a lot of people have camping and old mining and prospecting gear, and you never know what you're going to find in secondhand stores. So anyway, this was something he had in there, and I figured, I was just going to buy this and take it home, toss it in my sandblaster, blast it all, clean it up, repaint it, and then I thought, wait a minute, this would be an awesome video to show you guys how I would restore something without using fancy tools. So what we're going to use to restore this and clean it up a little bit, as you can tell, it's kind of rusty and dirty. Oh, and by the way, they also made a two-burner stove that was kind of like this, connected in the middle with two of these. And they made a lantern that looked just like this, but the lantern was on top. And if you don't know by now, this is the old can that's in here. Still had gas in it, but that rust kind of had me a little concerned, so I'm not going to be using this one. But how it basically works is you unscrew this here. You screw a can in like that, and you just slide the can in and screw that back on. And you're done. So, actually, you'll put that on the can before you screw it in, and then you're done. So that's pretty much how it works. It's fairly simple. It's kind of a cool little unusual thing. And I figured it's just something cool for me to restore and have around if I want to bring out when I go camping or something. Or even if I'm just doing a video and I want to bring this with me to cook some food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to work on it. I took this off, and by the way, this is copper. This is all brass or copper or brass, I'm sorry. When I got this, it was the color of regular steel. It was that gray color. The only thing I did to it was put some Croil. And if you guys can find this in your local stores, get it. This stuff's amazing. This is penetrating oil that will eat through years of corrosion on connecting points. So if you can't find this, this works almost as well. This is called PB Blaster. You can find this in Walmart or any car store. And it's the same idea. It's a penetrating oil. I just find the Croil works a little better. So this is what we're using. Some steel wool. A brass cleaning brush that's seen better days. I'm going to be tossing it out anyway, so I figured I'd use it up. I have an old 40 caliber brush here that I'm going to be putting through the tube to clean it up, because there's a lot of rust and corrosion in there. And this is what is this again? I forget. 1/4 inch socket that I'm going to be using to take off these little screws up here. Let me bring that in for you, so I can take apart the burner and clean off all this rust. Now my plan for this today, this will be a multi-part video, multi-day video. You'll see it all in this one video, but I'm going to do this over a couple days. Is first, there's these little clips here that hold these things up. Let me get that in the right way there so you can carry it. These clips bend easily, so we're going to bend those open. Take these off, clean them up. Take this off here, clean it all up. Clean up this tube. This tube runs up into here and kind of snakes. So I may actually have to use a pull-through type of device to clean it up. And this we're going to polish up. Inside here, I'm not going to go too nuts. It's pretty rusty and dirty. I'll just clean up the rust. Maybe throw a quick coat of black paint in there or something to keep it from rusting again. Out here, I'm not sure what color I'm going to use. I'm definitely not going to use the red. But anyway, this is how this works. Let me show you real quick. This unscrews here. You'll put this on the top of your propane bottle, slide your propane bottle in, put it there, tighten it back up. So anyway, yeah, this looked like it was steel when I first got it. And a little bit of rubbing with some steel wool. I went, oh yeah, that's brass. And as you can tell, there were a couple areas here where I had to mangle it a bit because it was really stuck on there. And I had to put a wrench on it. But we'll clean that up too so it won't look as bad. So anyway, let me get to taking off this first part here. and show you what it'll look like. Now, one of the things I did forget to mention, since I'm not using a sandblaster for this project, is I will be using sandpaper. But all this stuff you can buy, yourself. This isn't really a project that I wanted to put out of the reach of people who don't want to run to Harbor Freight and buy a sandblaster, or wherever. So this is the ring. We're going to be cleaning that ring off. It is a free floating open ring. I thought it was just a solid, but you can see the rust on that. There's a lot of rust on that. And this is your top here. That hole comes right out to here, but there's a lot of buildup in there, so I'm going to be scrubbing it out. You'll notice I put some Croil in here already to get the rust out. It doesn't look, this looks tacked on here, so I don't think I can remove this. So I'm just going to have to sand this upper area off a little bit, or just use some good old steel wool. These guys will be easy to clean. These are just the grates. We'll just clean them up good. And as you can tell, everything's really rusty. And this is just a cap here. There is some writing on here. These were made in Rochester, New York, by the way, by Bernz, the same company that makes the gas for them. So let me clean all this stuff up and give a good scrub down in here and kind of clean this plate up a little bit. And I'll bring you back when it's looking a little more respectable, and we'll go from there. All right, so about 45 minutes later, this is what I got. I did have to break down and use a little bit of rust remover. It's that rust remover gel. Some of this stuff was really caked. And again, it's not perfect and shiny, but the rust is gone. And that's really what I want. This is going to be a working unit. This doesn't need to look beautiful. The reason I'm recoating the bottom is because I don't want it to rust. So, and there are spots on here that are uncovered. Top came out pretty good. I did run a little bit of heat through it, through the tube, to make sure I got everything dry in there. And in here, I'm just going to blast this with some thick kind of paint to make sure it doesn't rust inside again. Did a little sanding. I did a little light sanding on the outside of it. Let me show you these came out amazing compared to what they were. They were solid rust. And now they're nice and clean. So what I did, and I'll show you real quick, is I just took my little propane torch here and just kind of went over everything to make sure everything was dry. Because of course I don't want rust. That's what I'm trying to fight to begin with. So you just kind of go over everything real quick. Little sparks from the steel wool that I used. There you go. Get out of there. There you go. I just want to make sure it's fully dry. So after you've done that, my next step for this is I'm going to give it a good rough sanding all along here. And use some paint. Make some kind of paint scheme that I want. I'm not sure what yet. I will be covering this area up again. Where the thing comes up around here. This I'm going to paint. So this area is all going to get covered. And we're going to paint the bottom over. And get some clear coat on it. I have to pick up some clear coat. And like I said, this is going to be a multi-day shoot here. So, I'll pick it up probably later today. But these actually came out really nice. Yeah. These were just caked in rust. So, anyway, these are little screws for the heads up top there. But we're not going to put it back together again until I got it painted. And also, I have to polish this thing up a little bit. It is very, very clean inside. I just want to polish it up to make it shiny, make it pretty. And that's about it. So, I'll bring you back when I've got this fairly well sanded and this cleaned up. And we'll move on to the next step. We'll coat it with some paint and put a coat of clear coat on it and see how it comes out. Alright, so I got it rough sanded, and that really is as rough sanded as you need. With something like this, what I'm doing really is just kind of scratching the surface so the paint sticks better. Then I'm going to put the paint on and a couple more layers, and then I'm going to put the clear coat over it. So really what this is going to do is just give it a good surface to adhere to. Yeah, I can put it in my sandblaster, blast it all clean it with acetone. I've already cleaned it with brake cleaner, by the way. And this is the copper, brass, whatever fitting. It's not perfect, but again, I don't want it perfect. This is going to be in use. I don't want to, polish this thing up for it to get rotten again. I just wanted it to look kind of new and clean and, okay. But I kind of like that it looks a little used, too. Alright, so let me get this outside. I'm going to hit this with some spray. I decided I'm going to use some of the, let me show it to you. I might as well reach down and get it. This stuff here, Rust-Oleum camo. And I might use a digital print that I have, stencil that goes over it. But we're going to start it off with this as a base coat, because that fits best in my environment. And we'll go on from there. Alright, so there's the first coat. Again, it's just a light coat. I took it outside. There's some spots I missed. Like I see a spot here I missed and everything. That's no big deal. We're going to go over this a bunch more times. I want to get a bunch of coats on this and then do a clear coat over it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any kind of camo pattern on it or anything. I may just leave it this color. I think it kind of looks cool. I just like a camo pattern because if it gets scratched up, it still looks okay. But maybe we'll do camo. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's the first coat. That's what it looks like for now. I did shoot some in there. Not a lot inside the tube. I just really want it to be protected from rust. I'm not looking for pretty inside the tube, just to cover it. By the way, you can barely see it, but along the back here it says Matic, always reliable, Rochester, New York. Kind of cool. I thought that was kind of neat that it had that on there. Anyway, that's the probably the last step for this first day of video. I'm going to maybe shoot a few more layers on it, but I won't videotape those. And then we'll move on to the next thing if I decide to do any kind of camo to it or anything. But for now, that's the first day. So I'm going to let this sit, and I'll catch up with you guys the next day. Alright, so here's what it looks like. The paint is dried. I did a little camouflage on it. I put a some netting over it and just kind of sprayed it. I did the base coat of the the Coyote Brown, Coyote Tan, and I did a camo kind of job. Just, it looks a little more in sync with its surroundings. I think it came out nice. It isn't perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect. I haven't put the flats back on again for the pots, although they did come out very nice. They came out nice and clean. I'm going to put them in. Fairly simple. I just have to tap that metal back down again. And this is the next day, for those of you keeping track. So this took about a day to do. Actually, I'm just going to get a hammer and do it this way. There we go. And that should do it. So, I'm going to set us up with 2 cups of water, and I'm going to see how fast this will boil it. I already checked everything. Everything's nice and sealed. I did put a little bit of lubrication on the rubber seals, just to make sure they're okay. They seem fine, though. There are really no problems with them. And it fired right up, nice and clean. So, give me a minute to set it up and get the water going, and we'll time it and see how quick it is. Now, as always, I will give you the safety reminder. Make sure you're doing this with adequate ventilation if you're doing it indoors. I would suggest doing it outdoors with something like this, especially an older one. However, I do have a fire extinguisher over on the corner here, and my door over there is wide open, so if something happens, I can literally spray it with a fire extinguisher and throw it outside. So, let's get 2 cups of water in here. First, let me clean out that cup. There's some stuff in it. Alright, there we go. There's 1. Handy to have a cup measure in here. And 2. That's about right. So it's a little short on the other, it's a little over on that one. So I'm going to light this. I'm just going to use a match. And I have lit this before. I kind of cheated to make sure it worked. There we go. Nice blue flame on it. You might see a little bit of stuff coming off it from the metal and the steel wool and everything. But a really nice blue flame. I don't know if you can see that. Let me turn off a light and see. Yeah, you can kind of see it now. It's a beautiful blue flame. Just came out really, really nice. So let's put the water on there and start the timer. So put it up here. Start the timer. Let's see how long that takes to boil 2 cups of water. I'm even going to give it a little advantage and put the lid on it. And see. There we go. Alright, so I'm starting to see the lid kind of bounce around a little bit. Let's see here. We are at 3 minutes, 24 seconds. Yeah, and we're getting a rolling boil. Let me pick you up for that. So, not bad. 3 minutes, 24 seconds. 3 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever. Not bad at all. So, I'm pretty pleased. I did notice something I did. I'll have to correct it when it cools off. These have little humps or bumps on them to hold the pan up. I put this on upside down so the bumps are facing downward. I noticed that because it was... So once this cools off, I'll just open that up, flip it, and put it back on there again. I also am noticing a little tiny bit of cold air coming out here, which is, of course, gas. So I'm probably going to have to take that and replace it, unscrew the little screw that's in there, the little bolt that's around it and unscrew the nut and take this out and probably replace the seal, or maybe even replace this whole part with something else. I'm sure it's available somewhere, no problem at all. If not, I can fix it. Anyway, folks, that is it. It's been fully restored. Again, it's not perfect. It's not shiny. It's not brand new. You know, some of the paint isn't perfect. But this is going to be used. I'm actually going to use this. I think for car camping, this is awesome because it's not a big burner, you know? It's not a tiny little teensy stove burner that you have to balance a big pot on. It's a big burner. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the restoration. That is the Bernz Matic stove. Very, very interesting old school kind of thing. Just fun to play with, you know. I collect kind of stuff like this that's unusual. And along with collecting, I also enjoy using it. So didn't want it to be too perfect because then I'd be afraid to use it. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the restoration. Don't forget to check out our links down below, our Amazon link. If you click that link and shop, you really help out the channel. It doesn't cost you a penny. Don't forget to check out our Olight link, as well as our Thrive Life link if you're interested in getting started and getting yourself some really good, high-quality, freeze-dried food. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.